Okay, I'm gonna get started here. Can you guys hear me? All right, welcome. How are you guys? Good to hear you. How was your first week? Good. What did you guys think of your first week projects? Okay, did you enjoy the process? Kind of an interesting approach to starting a project, doing all that research. It looks like a lot of you guys use the template that I provided you guys, which is hopefully helpful. Yeah, it's a little different when you don't have a client to talk to. Sometimes you just have to make certain things up. Um, it's just one of those things when you have kind of like a fake client. But think of me as being your client too. So if you have questions, I can try to give you as much info as I can. So, but it is definitely different. All right, well, welcome to week 2, live lecture 1. Thank you guys for being so patient and shifting around the schedule today. Did you guys have any questions from week 1 before I go forward here? Nope, you guys are good. All right, pretty easy. All right, so let's see kind of the agenda for today. We're gonna look at some announcements. We're gonna week 2. We're gonna do an overview for week 2 work. We're gonna talk about e-publications that you guys are gonna be starting for assignment 2. And we're going to do a demo of that. We're actually going to be talking about the assessment tomorrow. We'll kind of hold off with that. And then we're going to go into advertising campaign tips and copywriting tips. And if we have some time, we're going to do some color review. All right, so just a couple announcements. Actually, let me open up Canvas here. And just know that if it's an important announcement, I will email you guys as well so that you guys are all on the same page. But, just like every week, we post the Learning Coach contact information as well. Great, utilize them if you can. If I'm not here to obviously work with you guys, Christy's really good at help guide you guys along with any projects that you are having issues with. So there's her schedule for this week and her contact information as well. I just put the brief overview of what we're going to be doing in week 2 here, the learning objectives, and kind of a short synopsis of what we're going to be doing for this week. So every Sunday night, I usually post that so you guys are kind of getting a heads up of what we're going to be covering. And then throughout the week, I didn't get a chance to post too much last week, a couple announcements for different resources, but hopefully I'll be posting more as we go forward. Let's see here. Looks like something's kind of moving around up here. Let's see. Who's attending? Oh, okay. Get back to my screen here. All right, so online advertising. We're going to be talking about this because we are going to be doing a e-publication advertisement for assignment 2. And, it's a little different when you set up an online advertisement than digital versus print. So basically, it can also be called internet advertising, and it uses the internet to deliver promotional marketing messages to consumers. And here's a little fact here. So by the half-year mark in 2013, this is kind of a little bit further away, the business of online advertising has grown by 18% from 2012. So you can see kind of where it's going in terms of digital versus print, although there's still a lot of print advertising too, and it all kind of has its purpose and intentions for certain things. So it's just a little bit different in regards to how you go about designing it, especially for when you actually do export it out for to launch in an online digital platform versus a print platform. So it's good to kind of know as a designer how you need to be flexible to design an ad that can be workable for both platforms if need be. Delivery methods for digital advertisements. So display advertising looks like more traditional ads. You can use target marketing, cookies, market tracking, etc. So there's different delivery methods in terms of that. There's banner ads. So you guys can look into maybe doing a banner ad as well for this upcoming project. And those are graphics displayed within a web page, usually more general ads instead of targeted ads. So I'm sure you've seen, when you open up a website, I'm sure you've seen all kinds of ads pop up. Even on social media sites, you can definitely see targeted, if you were just on Amazon looking at a specific item, I'm sure it probably popped up in your social media page, and that's kind of tracking your kind of clicks and where you're looking to buy. So kind of tricky there. There's text ads, so displayed within the content and contain hyperlinks. So it doesn't necessarily have to be a visual ad per se. It can also be a hyperlink. So you can click right on it. It actually can be both too. You could have a bit more visual ad with a link inside. Search engine marketing provides sponsored results based on searches. There's different delivery methods there as well. Mobile ads. So if you're on your phone or even a tablet, ad copy delivered through a mobile device. Social media marketing through social media, offers posts, etc. from a company as well. So you can see Facebook. I'm sure you've seen a ton of ads. I know I've clicked on a few and actually got pulled into a few of those, product ads that pop up on your social media sites. Email advertising spam, you also have that through email, pop-up ads, those annoying type things. But sometimes they're good if you're looking for a good sale and you shop somewhere often. Those are really good ways to get a hold of the target audience very quickly for special sales and deals going on. Okay, so there's different costs for digital ads as well. So cost per mile, CPM, pay for every 1,000 displays of their ads. It's a little different than in print. So this is kind of what is the difference. Cost per click, so you have CPC, and this is basically page time users click. And cost per action, CPA, which is pay for the number of times an action is performed. So if product is ordered, coupon is downloaded, an email address is given, etc. So there's just different ways to go about that depending on the product and whatever is being advertised for that particular brand. It could even be an event. It doesn't have to be necessarily a product. It could be an organization trying to, get you to buy into whatever the cause is. So, but these are different cost compensation methods here. Give me 1 second, Grace. Okay, the benefits of the digital ad side versus the print ad is cost. It could definitely be easy, less amount of money to post an ad in a digital form versus print. Measurability. So as far as, trying to figure out where to place the ad when you're talking about a print ad, maybe a little easier doing it digitally because more people will see it. Format variety, so maybe the flexibility of the size format of the digital ad is a little bit more flexible than a printed ad. Targeted advertising, like you saw before, you know, there's tracking, there's ability to track kind of where you're clicking. So it's easier to kind of really get a good sense of who the targeted market is, and then I'll obviously target that audience. Visibility, again, you know, just so many more people are, I think, able to be exposed to online, depending on where the source is, than maybe in print. And that could be definitely debated, but, you know, in the general sense, especially if it's social media, you'll definitely get more eyes on it. And then the speed in which it is reproduced, in terms of, sometimes in print, when you create an ad, it takes a little while for it to be printed and sent out, whereas a digital ad is pretty much accessible as soon as it's uploaded. So those are the benefits to digital advertising. Billboard ads, let's talk about those. So billboard ads, what are they? They're large outdoor advertising, generally on the side of a roadway or buildings. You know, they're in all forms. There's some that are digital too. Why do we have them? To captivate an audience, free to consumers, reach more consumers. You know, sometimes if you're in an area where, say, an amusement park is, they want to hit that location where you're kind of, you know, the best place on the highway where you know your target audience is going to be. So sometimes it's in an actual local area where they know the people who are going to be more apt to visit or buy into a product. They're going to be, it's probably going to be the best bet as far as getting their attention. Tips for billboards: capture attention, make it short and sweet, use a call to action, exit here, limited time only, etc. Make it creative. People generally, it takes, I'd say, if you cannot understand or read a billboard within three seconds, it's going to fail. You always see, yeah, and sometimes billboard ads can be not as effective because there's so many out there too. So it really depends upon, you know, location and the actual ad itself, I think. We're just so numb sometimes nowadays with everything kind of bombarding us with pop-up ads and things, just printed ads, billboard ads. I mean, every day we think about all the things that we see every day. We become numb to it. Yeah, exactly. Yep. Sometimes it's a funny and an interesting kind of a billboard, and that's kind of what they're trying to do, is get your attention. Magazine ads. So there's billboard ads, there's magazine ads. Magazine ads advertises placed in magazines bought by and read by consumers. So typically the magazine is based upon a certain target audience, and all the advertisements in that magazine are kind of, that's their target audience. So they, you know, they're placing their ads in there because they know that is the target audience that would buy into their product, into their brand, or into their cause. Target a specific audience, more value by consumers because they paid for the content. Some people like very tangible, tactile experience of a magazine. You know, it could be digital too. They have digital magazines as well. But make it interactive, use humor, grab the viewer's attention in terms of the magazine ads. You guys will be working on magazine ads for this project, so think about how you can make it a little bit more interactive, you know, using humor or grabbing the viewer's attention in some way so that it's different. And obviously is, you know, there's just so much out there. You want really to kind of stand out. There's also newspaper ads. So basically advertisements placed in a newspaper. I think newspapers kind of, some of them are kind of going extinct. Some of them are kind of sticking around depending on where you live. But they target a specific audience: credibility, trust, sales ads, and coupons. Consumers like incentives. You see a lot of car ads, for example, car advertisements. Use call to actions, offer incentives, target specific consumers with placement, make it stand out against the black and white of the paper, make it pop. So that's kind of what the newspaper ads are for. Then you get into more the deliverable part of, part of advertising. You have your business cards. And they basically, you guys know what these are, small card handed to customers, generally with contact and company information on it. It's sneaky, not usually associated with advertising. You can use this actually as an ad size, good for brand marketing and personal experience. Make cards professional and use color logos for brand marketing. Utilize blank space for special offers, incentives, and advertising copy. And sometimes the space of the ad that you buy into could be just the perfect size of a business card, so it just kind of works out. Postcards. Postcards are direct mail advertising pieces sent to consumers via mail. Why do we have them? They can be personalized information, target specific audiences, timely, great for call to action like hurry in or sales ends. I get a lot of postcards for, my dog to get in to get his shots, from the vet. So those type of reminder cards are always good for a postcard type of a marketing piece. Make it creative, interactive, make it personal, use call to actions, and keep your design professional. You can see these examples here of some interesting postcards. Actually, the one looks like a business card on the scissors example, but it's probably sent out, maybe one-sided, mailed out. It's kind of a different idea there. Name the product and company. So we're going to do a little game here, see if you guys can name the product and company. So some of these ads you might hopefully have seen, they're pretty universal. Let me know if when I show these slides, type in who you think, what the name of the product is and the company. Okay, you guys ready? Here we go. Try your best. All right, so this was a TV commercial. Wow, you guys got that quick. And what is that? That's the brand, Old Spice. And what is the product? Body wash? Yep, smell like a man. Yep, and deodorant too. I think that's for body wash for sure. Very good. So look how quick you guys got that, from the, seeing the commercial, maybe the ads, and knowing who the brand is. Okay, here's some other examples of that same brand and using different ad tactics. The one on the left, Crisp, Breeze, Majestic Icicles, Matterhorn, Old Spice, Fabio, You Can. It's kind of an interesting ad there. The other ones, Give Us Thanks. Kind of an interesting spin on that as well. I don't remember these either. I remember, obviously, this one, but I don't remember these. So, I don't know. What about this one? Okay. And the product is? Yeah, you guys got it. Yep. I'm a PC, I'm a Mac. That was a pretty good advertising campaign. Basing it on the two spokesmen here, kind of visually representing each computer. It's kind of funny. Here's some of their other advertising campaigns you probably have seen. Some are older. Here's the iPod, famous iPod ones. Kind of interesting for sure. It's kind of neat to see the progression of even just their logo from when it started to where it is now. It's kind of crazy. How about this one? Okay. Let's see if you're right. You both said McDonald's. Let's see if you're right. Big Mac. I'm loving it. Over there, I'm loving it is the slogan that they use. And then the promotion is the Big Mac. Very simple. You guys got it. Colors are everything too, for sure. Here's some of their other examples. Very simple. visual ads here. So, this could definitely be a tactic that you guys think about for your campaign pieces. It could be as simple as this. You're just using a visual with a one word based on your theme. What about this? Who is this? Night? You guys got that right away. Yeah, there was at one point, and this is kind of how a company has evolved so has a good brand recognition, is because you don't need their name with the actual icon anymore. So they used to have this as their logo. Now they just dropped the whole name of the company altogether and are using just this symbol, just like Apple does with just the apple. Yep. There you go. They have arrived when the name goes away from the icon. Yep. And you can't start out that way because obviously you don't have brand recognition, but that's pretty much the simplicity that you want going forward with your brand, if at all possible, for it to be as recognizable as possible. Here's some other ads here. Find Your Greatness from Nike. So that's kind of a fun game. It's kind of neat to see if you guys just recognize certain brands based on different ad campaigns. Good job with that. All right, so as we go forward, we really want to make sure that we are really thinking about. I kind of looked through all of your templates. I shouldn't say templates, design briefs, and I can say a lot of you guys were still missing a specific verbal way of explaining kind of the campaign ideas that you were thinking about. I kind of got a general sense of where you guys were going, but nothing really specific. So really start thinking about specific themes and stories that you're going to go with for your projects. So here are some ad campaign tips. Maintain consistency throughout your campaign. Whatever your message is, be it a tagline, just do it, the logo, Nike swoosh, graphic, Apple iPod, silhouette, etc. Make sure you can use it across all the different advertising types for your campaign. So you might want to think about that almost as if you're jumping ahead for the weeks coming up and thinking about, okay, I know in week 4 I'm going to be doing this. These are the deliverables that I want to do. And that's kind of in your design brief too. It should be kind of all the deliverables that you need to have so that you can think ahead if this is going to work for all of those different deliverables. So thinking ahead is good, obviously. But maintaining consistency is something that is truly important because you wouldn't want somebody to have a disconnect within an ad campaign. You put a lot of money into a certain theme for the campaign, and then you don't want that disconnect to happen. It just wouldn't be good for the overall brand. You want it to be very cohesive. It doesn't have to look exactly the same all through each deliverable, but it has to have a common theme to it. The colors, the simplicity of it, if that's the case, typography, alignment, all of that. Keep your message simple. So it's challenging to create a hook that will cut through the clutter that consumers are exposed to each and every day. The key is igniting consumer memory. Sometimes it is to keep it simple. So here's an example of Subway Eat Fresh is a good example. Very simple. Here's a bad example, the Long-Term Traveler's Guide, going longer, cheaper, and living your dream. So, it's a little bit more lengthy. The tagline is a little hard to understand. So you're not going to invest as much time in understanding what that's all about. It might be confusing to you. Subway Eat Fresh, very quick and easy to understand. So that's, more effective. Use a call to action and or other words that sell, So for example, clearance, everything must go, family owned and operated, improved, etc. New packaging, or, any type of things that make it seem better, is what you want, and a call to action. kind of making it seem like, you know, I guess, what do they call that? Limited time or limited products will definitely help as far as some of the tips for this, for the ideas of your slogan, or for the idea of your concept. Clarity is also another tip. So it's key when delivering your message. You want the consumer to know at a glance what you're selling, and then make a snap decision as to whether or not they want to learn more. So it's almost like you're showing them very quickly about this product, but if they want, you're not cramming all this information into this one ad. You know, you want to have some type of call out in terms of maybe a web address for them to kind of find out more, or when they see the product, you know, buy it just to see, to find out the experience. Or, you know, obviously if it's a drinking product like Coca-Cola, you're going to try it just to see what it tastes like. So here's a good example of clarity. Drink Coca-Cola, delicious and refreshing. Very simple. Here's a bad example on the right. The axe, find out what makes you really, really ridiculously good looking. It's just, you know, kind of hard to, I don't know, could be kind of a little confusing. So, you know, you want to make sure it's simple and it's clear as to what you're saying, what you're trying to communicate. Don't forget design tips. Don't forget color psychology has a huge impact. Color alone can really change the way somebody sees, views, buys a product, in a good way and a bad way. So, you know, think about that. Color repetition. So all of your design principles, alignment, proximity, always keep that in mind. Make sure you're abiding by that and, you know, paying attention to that when you're creating your projects. Typography is so important that, you know, an ad can definitely totally fail if you choose the wrong, inappropriate typography for it. So you want to make sure that the typeface that you use is going to align very appropriately with the brand, and it doesn't have any weird or negative connotations that go along with something that may not be appropriate for the brand that you're using it on. So, and also readability sake, you know, maybe you're using something that you think looks really, really cool and you think it aligns really well with the brand, but it's really hard to see, it's hard to read. And, you know, you want to make sure your type is readable if that's, you know, all going into the ad itself. Remember, the brand, logo, taglines, colors tie back to the company. So keep it consistent. When you get your logo for this brand, you want to make sure that you are using similar colors and taglines that tie back to the actual company itself. You know, so just kind of be mindful of that. Use images wisely. You want to make sure you're using images that are appropriate for your brand. And you know, I've had like, for instance, I've had students who will do like an advertisement for let's see here, for like a resort in the Caribbean or something like that. But they'll go online, try to find a really good copyright-free beach picture, but they're not paying attention to what that beach actually is. So I've had a student use one that's maybe in Hawaii versus Caribbean, and some of those things you can really tell, you know, in some of those destinations with the background landscape, that you're not on the correct beach. So that's kind of a little example of something that, you know, to be aware of. So make sure you're using images wisely. Design for your audience in the industry. You know, think about that. Think of who is your audience? Who are you speaking to? And what would they be into? What would draw their attention into this ad? You know, could be just the mood setting of the image itself or the design itself. So think about that. Remember Design 101, positive, negative space you can play around with, balance, focal point, etc. Always use those foundational principles and elements of design as well whenever you're thinking about, approaching an ad, designing an ad. All right, some copywriting tips. So sometimes we have to make up some copy. I know I've been in a position where I'll have, a client say, okay, well, here's the image I want you to use. Here's the logo. Here's some body copy, but I don't know what the headline should be or subhead. Can you come up with that? So, you might be put in that position. You might even be writing some of the body copy. It's just sometimes it just happens that way. So copywriting tips make them feel something, evoke memories, feelings, emotions. So if you're coming up with a headline, make sure it ties into not only the image, also the brand, but then also the message altogether from that actual ad or campaign that you're designing for. Sell quality over savings. People don't always want cheap, so think about that. There's definitely some cases where it's definitely all for expense purposes, but for the most part, you want to make sure the quality of it is up there in terms of how you're portraying a brand going forward. Copywriting tips: be authentic. Consumers are wary of offers that are too good to be true. It could be like, I don't know about this. This seems kind of sketchy. So be authentic. Use verbs instead of adjectives. So for example, Brian is an intelligent, hardworking, and insightful young man versus Brian founded a successful advertising company, created a popular blog, and leads a talented team of designers. So you might want to think about that. When going forward with your your advertising wording that you have in there. Use power words such as free, instantly, new, and hurry, etc. Just looking at different ads will give you ideas too. Write your demographic. Who are these people who are looking to buy a BMW? What's their demographic? It is funny. It says, the new BMW M5, never underestimate the influence of centrifuge force. Yeah. So, maybe a lot of these drivers are pet owners, dog owners, stuff like that too, but use humor. This is definitely very, very funny. The poor little guy stuck in there. Watch your grammar and punctuation. I had some of you guys I saw some grammar and punctuation and spelling errors. There is spell check in all of the programs. If you do not know how to access that, let me know and I can show you that. InDesign definitely has it. So it's very easy. Just run through very quickly before you actually upload your project. Avoid negatives in your copywriting. Obviously you want to put out all positive information. You don't really want to stick with the negatives. Use a hook, some specific detail. So for example, tricky old Haagen-Dazs little line of copy made with 100% Madagascar vanilla. It's like a little hook there. So Haagen-Dazs used this line of copy in the mid to late 90s to promote their vanilla ice creams in advertising, packaging, and storefront displays. It sounds exotic and premium, something that catches your eye. It makes you pause, like, ooh, vanilla from Madagascar. And it's funny, it says, little does the consumer know that 90% of the world's vanilla is grown in Madagascar. That's an actual truth. So it kind of connects to that, but it's kind of, a nice way of hooking in the audience as well. So, that could definitely be something that you want to explore for your strategies as well and copywriting within your ads. All right, let's see here. I'm going to see how long I've been talking about. Okay, we're kind of a little bit, I don't want to bore you guys here. So why don't we take a 5-minute break? I'm going to go on with the copywriting tips. Actually, We're going to go into the anatomy of an ad. Take a 5-minute break here. I'm going to give you guys a little break from me kind of just droning on here. And then we'll go into a little bit more before we get into the demo. We'll talk about your discussion too. Sound good? All right. Give you guys a 5-minute break. I'll be right back. All right, can you guys hear me? All right, let's go forward here. Grab some tea for my voice. Okay, anatomy of an ad. Let's take a look at this because we are going to be creating an ad for this project coming up. So what are the parts of an ad? So a visual element or multiple elements, usually a picture such as a photograph, a cartoon, a painting, a comic strip, or a simple drawing is part of the ad, could be the focal point of the ad. Obviously, the text, often called a message or body copy, is part of the ad. Its main function is to present the product or the service to the potential customer. And you can use image and text to pull in the audience too, like the headline and the image can go hand in hand, which is also the next point here. A slogan or phrase, which is used to help sell a product. Generally, it can be easily memorized. And this slogan can be used in different ways, but consistently on all of your deliverables, if done, obviously in the right way, could be very effective. The logo or logo type is part of an ad, so you'll definitely want the logo on there. Trademark for the company, product, helps brand identification. You don't want it to be too small, but you probably don't want it to be the biggest element on the actual ad itself either. You also have the headline, similar to the slogan. It gives the consumer a general idea of the product, service, and company and what the purpose of the ad is. And then a call to action, what are you trying to get the audience to do? Is there, a phone number? Do you want them to call? Do you want them to buy now? Do you want them to look into more of the product or information with having a website address, buy now with a certain offer? Or help fight for the cause, if it's an organization. Ads may or may have all or some of these elements. So there's definitely certain elements that need to be on there. So you definitely want to have your logo on there for sure. Here's an example of an ad from Nike showing these different elements: the headline, the image. See how they all kind of work together here: body text, slogan, and logo. So how can you emulate this? This is a very successful ad campaign to your actual campaign as well. You might not want to copy this, but obviously this is a very successful ad. So how can you also create something very different yet successful, just like Nike has here? Here's a McDonald's ad. I would assume this might be a full page ad. It says, "Stop staring at me like I'm some piece of meat." Kind of a funny headline there with the image. So image and type go hand in hand, pulling you into the ad. Then you want to read more down below, the body text with the call out Logan's logo. Logan and slogan. Said that 5 times fast. The send off is basically the logo at the very bottom right corner. That's a nice way to kind of send off the actual brand so that you know kind of the brand that you're talking about. Color harmony. Think about these things when you're creating your ad this week. Color harmony is something that is pleasing to the eye. It engages the viewer and it creates an inner sense of order, a balance in the visual experience. When something is not harmonious, it's either boring or chaotic. So you're kind of balancing that. Extreme unity in color combinations leads to understimulation. Extreme complexity in color combination leads to overstimulation. And harmony is a dynamic equilibrium. So it's a very balanced, it's all about balance. Color harmony is definitely all about balance as well. So make sure you're not kind of crossing the line with the extremes there. So let's go back to color theory. Color combination techniques. You have complementary colors. Colors that are opposite each other on the color wheel are considered to be complementary colors. I was just teaching my daughter this the other day. Example, red and green are complementary colors. The high contrast of complementary colors creates a vibrant look, especially when used at full saturation, but must be managed well so it's not jarring to the eye. So yeah, you don't want to use a ton of green color, like a block of green color with red type over top. It's going to be very hard to read. But use sparingly, it definitely could work. Complementary colors are tricky to use in large doses, but work well when you're doing something to stand out, when you want something to stand out. Complementary colors don't always work well for text. You can see that right there. I think it's the vibration level that they give, the hue gives, especially if placed on a color that is complementary of it on a block of color. Get that whole vibration from your eye, and it just makes it really hard to read. Analogous color schemes are three colors. They are three colors that are side by side on the color wheel. They usually match well and create serene and comfortable designs. You see there's the blue and the green and the lime green or yellow green. Analogous color schemes are often found in nature and are harmonious and pleasing to the eye. So make sure you have enough contrast when choosing analogous color scheme. Usually one color will dominate, a second to support, and the third color is used along with black, white, or gray as an accent color. There's some color combinations there. You also have triad. A triadic color scheme uses colors that are evenly spaced around the wheel. Triadic color harmonies tend to be quite vibrant, even if you use pale or unsaturated versions of your hues. To use a triadic harmony successfully, the colors should be carefully balanced. So let one color dominate and use the two others for accent. So here's an example here of a triadic color scheme with the Superman logo. Okay, split complementary is a color scheme with a variation of the complementary color scheme. In addition to that base color, it uses the two colors adjacent to its complement. You can see up there, it's next to the red is the red purple and the orange red with the green. The color scheme has the same strong visual contrast as complementary color scheme, but has less tension to it. And the split complementary color scheme is often good choice for beginners because it's easier to use correctly. Oh, that's the end of the slideshow there. Any questions about what we kind of went over so far? All right, so a lot of this is just kind of a refresher of things to just kind of always keep in your mind. A lot of it is foundational stuff, the color theory, the principles of design, the elements of design, just in general about advertising, different print and design, print versus online magazine ads, and then also about campaign ads. Just kind of keep all of that in mind when designing for your project coming up. All right, with that being said, let me go back to Canvas here because we still have the discussion to go over before I get into the demo here. So let me go into week 2, and then we'll go to your discussions. So just make sure you're going through each of these learning objectives. I actually posted these in the announcements as well. These are the things that we're going to be going kind of completing this week for week 2. Also, don't forget there's a little 4-minute video here you can check out that explores, that actually will get you started thinking about which medium to use in terms of, maybe a project that you have coming up, maybe for this campaign project, but you already kind of have it plotted out for you guys, so it's kind of a little different in that regards. Okay, let's look at discussion 2. See if you have any questions here. All right. So basically, this is kind of discussing different mediums available to advertisers. So there are a variety of mediums available to advertisers, from print, such as magazine and newspapers, to online, such as banner ads and e-zines, to multimedia, such as radio ads and video commercials. Choosing the right one is as much about the company as it is about the target audience and the price associated with each. For instance, if you're marketing a product and the target audience is 65 plus for the male audience. A banner ad on Facebook is not likely the best medium to use. If the company you're working with is a startup and has very little money, a large direct mailing campaign is likely out of their price range. So it's important for you to know what the options are so you can counsel your clients on the best option for them. So there's definitely different components and reasoning behind certain mediums that you would choose. And all is based on not only the target audience, but also the actual brand itself, the company that you're designing for. Are they a startup or are they established? You know, who the target audience is, that all kind of plays a big part. Okay, so this is your prompt. So in this discussion, we will explore advertising mediums and get a better understanding of what is available. This week, identify 3 mediums of which to market to a target audience. Examples are, but not limited to, web banner ad, a newspaper ad, billboards, radio ad, direct mail, etc., and define what the medium is in your own words. Then research the medium to answer the following questions about each one. So you're going to get 3 of them to talk about each of these. So what are the advantages and disadvantages of each medium, of each method? What is the primary target audience for each medium? What kind of costs and time frames are associated with each medium? Okay, so you might not know a specific cost or time frame, but you can get a general sense from your research for that. So for your citations, you're going to take 3 of those different mediums and really kind of answer those 3 questions for those 3. So for your citation, you must use articles that list advertising mediums or marketing groups. You can also find articles from case studies that explain how mediums were chosen to use in a campaign. Your initial and reply posts should work to develop a group understanding of this topic. Challenge each other, build on each other, and always be respectful, but discuss this and figure it out together. All right, so that's kind of yours to kind of go and explore and see what you want to talk about. You might know more about one than the other. You might want to explore and kind of see the pros and cons of each. Maybe not the pros, the advantages and disadvantages of each method that you're choosing. Any questions about that? It's pretty straightforward. You can even show an example, of each one if you want. If you do, just make sure you cite it. No? Tim here had his started. He actually posted. He did a great job with his post here and has his references down here. So that's a good example of that. So just make sure you're completing the reply requirements as well, getting all those points possible. All right, so now we have no questions. Let's go forward here into, did anybody start this yet? Assignment 2. Okay, that's fine. Some of you guys like to wait till you hear the lecture, and that's completely understandable. We're going to go over your assessment 2 tomorrow. So if you're kind of wondering when we're going to go over that, we'll do that tomorrow, just kind of breaking it up a little bit. All right, let me go through the background here. So this is the e-publication project. So an essential part of an advertising campaign has long been print media, specifically magazines and newspapers. However, publications have changed dramatically over the past 15, 10, even 5 years, and several now have an online version of the publication in addition to the print. Some have even done away with their print versions altogether. In the digital age of design, it is important to know how to design for online versions of publications and newspapers as it is their print counterparts. Okay, so I'm going to hopefully clarify any questions that you have about this. I think some of this can be a little confusing. So we'll see if you guys have any questions. Okay, so for this assignment, you will be designing the EPUB part of your campaign. Research online publications that your client should advertise in and choose the best one. Oh, excuse me. So for example, online skiing magazines, local publications, and parenting magazines are a few suggestions to get you started. Make sure the publication you choose will address the target audience for the client you chose. Okay, so for the first part of this assignment, complete the following steps. That's a good question. An EPUB is an electronic publication. So that's a great question. So think about it as a magazine in your hands is a print publication, but a magazine online is an e-publication. And it could be not only a magazine, it could be a newsletter, it can be a flyer that's more than one page type of a thing. Does that make sense? So I think the tricky thing here is it kind of reads as if you're going to be doing the whole entire publication, but you're not. You're just going to be choosing a publication, an e-publication, to put your ad into, and you're going to design the ad for that publication. Okay, so don't freak out if you think you have to do the whole magazine. I don't know if anybody got that from that, but anyway, okay. So you're going to choose a publication to design an online magazine or newspaper style advertisement for the first part. Once the publication is chosen, look on the publication site and find out what the required specifications are for the advertisement. And I'll show you some examples for that so you guys can get started. Create a cohesive advertisement for your client's campaign per your week one's campaign development research. And then obviously you guys are starting that process. When designing the ad, keep in mind the creative requirements of the campaign target audience, and the audience of the publication. Save your advertisement in the format per the publication requirements. Okay, you probably have a lot of questions right now, but I'm going to show you an example of different publications that you could use and where to find this information. Okay, so let's just kind of read through the second part of this and then we'll go back to the first part. But hopefully I'll clarify any questions. And then if you have any questions, let me know. For the second part of the assignment, submit a minimum 500-word document describing why you chose that publication. Explain what design and advanced advertising techniques you are utilizing, how you are appealing to not only your campaign target audience, but to the target audience of the publication as well in your design. Include the link to the publication site where you found the specifications for the advertisement. Okay, so that would be all included into your Word document. Submission instructions. So you're going to submit a multi-page PDF that includes the advertisement and your write-up, and then your file name as such. Do not try and upload your paper in Word. Canvas will not accept it. The assignment only accepts PDF submissions. So that's just a little note there. So you're going to have a multi-page PDF that you're going to be submitting for this assignment. One will be your ad. The other part will be your written part. Okay, so let me show you really quick here an example of, get my links up here. Is anybody doing the amusement park? The Discovery Island. How about the zoo? Anybody doing the zoo? Or this, who's doing what? Okay, let's see here. Okay, somebody just typed in here. Hold on one second. You're doing the zoo? Okay, let's do the zoo then. Kay's doing the zoo, so let's take a look at that. So all I did was I actually, and I'll show you exactly how I did this. I think you guys can do the same steps too. So think about the zoo. If you are designing for this particular brand in the zoo, oh, you're both in the zoo, okay. There you both are, there you go. There we go. So if you're doing the zoo, where would your ad be most effective in? What kind of publications do you think? Like if you had an ad to do and you wanted to reach, you know, the target audience, where do you think those ads would be most effective in? Winos for wildlife. I like that. Yeah, that's cute. That's a cute theme there for sure. So maybe like a parent magazine. There you go. That would be kind of good. So you could maybe think of a parent, like a parent magazine. Oh, I'm typing in here. I actually, let me show you the link here. I actually got a website that goes to an actual zoo magazine too. So it would really have to depend on where that's actually being produced, the actual magazine itself, although this is online. But, you know, you could do it, you don't necessarily have to do it exactly into the industry it's in. You can do it in parent magazines, anywhere you think the target audience is going to see it. You know, people who have kids, they're looking for events, you know, different e-publications that you can look for. Just do a Google search, you know, of parent magazines, online parent magazines. So I went online and I just looked up e-publications for zoos, and I found this particular one called Associations of Zoos and Aquariums. And so when you look into these websites, if you're on a parent magazine website or, you know, a zoo website like this, look for anything that says about advertising specs. And I think on this one, let me see, what is this one? I think this is actually on the site here. Donate calendar. Join. Might be like a media kit. Also kind of in there. Here's advertise and connect. So I just have to click in further. So I might have an advertising page. So if I were to design an ad for this particular magazine, I'm looking at their media kit. And here's their online and print advertising specs, okay? So I would have to download one of their media kits. So maybe, for instance, this one would be the 2018 Connect Media Kit. So I'm going to download that one. It's going to be a PDF here. Let me share this so you can see it. This is a PDF, so you'd have to download that. And what's neat about these is it's going to tell you exactly what you need in terms of, you know, print specs or digital specs. So it's kind of showing you different covers. It tells you why to advertise in there. It has content page here, which is nice. Print advertising specs. So if you're doing print, you want to go to the specs for that page. If you're doing digital, which we are, that's the page that you want to go on. I don't know if it's clickable. No, it's not. So we'll just go forward here. So advertising specs, this is just for, I believe, print. This is the first page. I'll have to go forward and see. Yeah, print. So they're showing you different, and every magazine is different. Every online magazine is different. So you want to make sure that you're going in and checking their specs. So what you would do is say, okay, I want to do a full page ad or a 2-page spread for this particular ad, or maybe a half horizontal, and then look at their specs down below. So it's 7.5 7.5 by 4.5. And that's the ad size that you would design depending on what you want to do. So you're going to choose based on their ad specs which one you want to design for. Now I think this is print, so I'm going to go forward here. Color, black and white. Now it's giving you the member rates and the non-member rates for this. Here's digital advertising. So it looks like what's on here is just giving you an idea of cost per placement, the monthly rate. So I'm thinking that this is ad specs for both digital and print. Okay, this is just telling you how much it is. So, you know, for this assignment, I would go back to this page. Even though it says print ad, there's no specific web ad specs in here that I can see. So I'm going to just use those print ad specs. And going forward, it doesn't actually say, let me see here. It just says submit files via email to, it doesn't say how to save it out here. Oh, it says full color buttons. Typically it will give you like, you know, what the DPI needs to be, dots per inch, all that fun stuff. I think this might be on this one. Okay, it says programs, Adobe Illustrator, InDesign, or Photoshop up to version 9.0. If possible, please convert Mac files to PC compatible PDFs or EPS files. Illustrator files should have fonts outlined and images embedded. So all of this kind of keep in mind, file formats and resolution. All graphics should be EPS, TIFF, or PDF files, high res, JPEG acceptable if files being emailed. Word, PowerPoint, and MS publisher files are not acceptable. Color space. All color ads must be designed in CMYK. RGB colors must be converted to CMYK before submission. PMS colors are unacceptable unless converted to process color equivalent. The only thing with this particular media kit is they're not telling you for digital specs. So I would say for this one, a JPEG with an RGB image of your ad, 72 dots per inch would be acceptable. And then you just pick your actual size. Now, if you're doing, let's see, if you are doing the amusement park, here are, okay, so I looked up this amusement park magazine, which doesn't have to be the actual magazine for an amusement park. It could be, again, like a parent magazine or, just a you know, a lifestyle type of magazine for your local area. And in that website, when you look up their ad specs. This is under ad specifications. They're giving you not only ad specifications, the sizes, but they're giving you digital ad specs as well. Here, they're telling you the PDF must be high resolution, CMYK with fonts embedded, acceptable media. So you're going to kind of follow these rules wherever you go. So whichever publication, e-publication that you look for that's connected to that would be kind of more appropriate for your brand, you want to follow these specs. Oops. There we go. This is for if you're doing the ski one. I found this really cool ski media kit. So this is if you're, want to place this in this powder magazine here. What's neat about this is in their media kit, they're telling you who the actual target audience is here. Excuse me. Digital. Let's see. Social media, events. Ad specs for digital. So this is where I would click on here. So you might need to dig around a little bit on your website, whichever you decide to do. Here's a PDF I had to download for the media kit for this particular magazine. And this is nicely done, by the way. Here are the print demographics. If you're trying to think about what demographics is, this is a nicely done breakdown of demographics of the kind of the target audience that would be reading this magazine. And this gives you an idea of if you think your ad is appropriate for this particular magazine. you read through all of this information, so it's very helpful. Here's the monthly issues. You know, when will these be issuing out, when their closing dates are, the description of which, you know, what they're kind of focusing on that month. Excuse me. Here's their rates. Okay, so this is print and digital. So you can see that the cost is a lot different here. And let's see here, specifications. So, you know, you would pick a size that you want to do. Again, you can choose whichever size that you want to do for this. You're not stuck with, you know, a full page ad. You do whatever type of spec that you want. You just want to make sure when you provide this link. So let's say you're doing the ski brand and you're doing this media kit. You want to actually place your ad in this publication. You're going to give me that link, which I just showed you the website for. You're going to copy and paste that in. And you can even download the PDF too and add that to your PDF. If it is a PDF like this, and I can go back and look at your specs and see if they're correct based on what this is, you know, telling me here. So, you know, the sizes are correct. The bleeds, trim edges, you guys have to be mindful of that. And hopefully it's as detailed to tell you, you know, all of this information. So this is telling me the trim area, some bleed information here. It just goes on and on with other stuff. So social media, it's kind of neat to see, kind of nicely done here. Okay. Any questions about that? So it really depends on what you find out there in as far as the publication that you're going to use. Oops, what am I doing here? Hold on, guys. There we go. Okay, Kay, you said I chose to do the wines for life for this one, so I was thinking of putting it into a beer. Yes, that would be very good. So when you look up that, make sure they have like digital specs for like an online ad that you can run in there, you know, in their publication. Yep. And if you guys run into any issues with trying to find a publication, let me know. I can try to help you guys out. But like I said, it doesn't have to be super specific, you know, to the actual brand. It could just be like a parent magazine in Florida or something, like for the amusement park one that we're talking about here. Here's one, TampaBayParenting.com. So if I wanted to do, like I'm doing the ad for the amusement park, this might be something that where I would want my ad to go to, okay? So what I would want to do is just kind of look to see if they have any, you know, information on how to do so. So let's see here. And some of them might not be as easy to find. Let's see, here's online magazine. Okay, so this is their online version, just kind of nice to look through. Okay. Advertising. Love the kid with the glasses on the webpage. I missed that. I'll have to go back. So advertising would be a key point. I would click on that and then download our media kit. There you go. That's what you want. So, you know, a lot of them might have a media kit you need to download, like I said. Let's take a look at this. So I'm doing the Discovery Island, and this is in Florida, and this is maybe one of the magazines that I'm interested in putting this in. So I'm going to read about, okay, who are the readers? It has a nice breakdown. I don't know if you guys can see this. Am I sharing the PDF here? There we go. Where it's actually being distributed, this is nice. home delivery, email, web. Not only are they doing it via print, they're also sending it out through email and web, different websites, supermarkets, private and public schools, YMCA, paid subscription, tutoring, learning centers. So this is just tons of resources here, or distribution sources, I should say, for this particular magazine. Top 5 reasons to advertise with us. Who their readers are. What's their actual breakdown, target audience, demographics. Advertise, so monthly print and digital ads and specialty guides. Okay, so here they're kind of giving you a breakdown of their sizes, not necessarily specs. So if I didn't get as many specs here, like if I didn't know what the resolution is that they needed, I'm kind of assuming if it's, obviously an online ad, and if I were to actually design an ad for this particular magazine for my brand, I would design it for the specs that I know go with that. So 72 dots per inch for a web ad, and obviously following the specific size of the ads, based on their media kit. And then saving it out as either a PDF or a JPEG. I would say either or is good for a web online ad. Just make sure it's a higher res quality JPEG, I should say, and a PDF as well. Okay, so here I'm kind of, I can do the 8.5 width by 11 inch height with trim, or a full page bleed as well, so 9 inch by 11.5. So I can actually do a full page. And then here's the other sizes, 1/6 page, which is 2.5 wide by 4.75, or a quarter page, 3.95. So every publication is different. That's why you want to make sure you're reading into this for this specific information. Okay. So if I were to go forward with my, and you guys know that I was actually working on, let me go back to my design brief here. You might need to go back to adjust your design brief based on the information that I gave to you on our last evaluation. But let me open up. I was doing Discovery Island, and hold on a second, guys. Process book. Okay, I think I'm getting into the demo here. Hold on one second. All right, let me open up this InDesign file. This is just the creative brief that you guys completed recently here. So you're going to kind of go through that again and create a campaign idea for your whole story for your campaign, I should say. Let me open this up in InDesign. I would say design it in InDesign. Design the ad in InDesign. You can do it in Illustrator. It's just easier to align type and imagery in InDesign. It's always a good habit to do ads in InDesign just because it's easier, like I said, to set type and align certain elements here. Looks like I have missing links. Oh, I guess I didn't save my final one. I thought I did. Okay. News to me. I probably have it somewhere, but this is the template that I was just showing here. So take all this information, go forward. This is blank. And say I'm going to do this for that magazine that I just had up there. I'm going to do the 8.5 by 11 ad. And so I'm going to go in InDesign, and I'm going to obviously do the 8.5 by 11. let's do the bleed. I'll have the full bleed. So that is the 9" by 11.5. But we are going to do, actually, we're just going to do 8.5 by 11. And then the bleed will be the 1/2 inch. Right? Because that's 9, so we have 8. Yep. Or yeah, that's a 1/2 inch. Yep. So I just put the bleed settings as a 1/2 inch here. Okay. There we go. So this would be the start of my print ad, or my e-publication ad. Then I would name it as such, 470, assignment 2 for this. All right, so whatever your slogan is for your ad here, let me go back and grab one. This could be something that you created or that you got from the assignment information from week 1. Oops. I'm just going to grab it from the assignment information right now. Here it goes. I thought they gave you some slogan ideas. Maybe I'm wrong on that. For each one. Is that discussion? No. Hold on, guys. I thought that was included in here, but maybe I just misread it. For each seasonal event. So let's do week 2. All right, let's see here. So I'm doing the amusement park. What I might want to do is actually look up on photo sharing sites that are copy free, like Pixabay is a good one. You know, if you're going to do multiple images or even just one image, it's a great website to look at. Pixabay is all very high resolution imagery that you can use for your ads that are free. So amusement park would be one keyword that I can look up. Now, when you're thinking about your theme, obviously that slogan has to go with that. The imagery that you have, if that's kind of the approach that you're going to go. You can do all type too, depending on your approach. But, you know, obviously if you're doing an image, you want to kind of go through here very carefully and choose wisely your image. You can also do water park. But this is for both. And, you know, it's also based on the seasonal events that are going on. So let me open up that information too. Give me 1 second. So I'm doing the Discovery Island. Open up my fact sheets here so we can take a look at it. I know you guys are doing the zoo. So year-round events are water park open from April through September, weather permitting, amusement park open year-round. Winter and fall, holiday lights, Polar Express train ride, holiday festival, Fright Nights, Mardi Gras, and then summer 4th of July fireworks and summer night concerts. So when you choose this e-publication ad, which season are you thinking that would be best used for? Which, obviously what season, if you're doing maybe, because I think we're going to be doing other deliverables, would they work better with different, the other seasons? So think about that going forward. So maybe in this case, I would do more of the maybe the holiday lights or the Polar Express train ride, the holiday festival. Okay, so knowing that, we can definitely go back and look at, where is it here? Imagery that would go better with that, or best with that. So holiday festival would be one. Now this is at an amusement park, so you want to make sure it looks, it's either very general, like zoomed in on something that you can't tell where it's at, or obviously it's relevant to the actual park. Some of these are very specific. Train ride, holiday festival. So you might do some search in here, and first I think this is kind of cute. It's kind of an illustration. This one would be really good for like the zoo. Maybe there's a Mardi Gras one that would be best for the amusement park here. So, obviously, you want to kind of check out what's available imagery wise, what will work best, and it goes along with your whole slogan. Holiday lights event, that could be one of them. And knowing that this one is in Florida, you might want to put the keyword in there. It's actually very pretty right there. So maybe holiday lights, Florida. Let's see what comes up here. Not too much, right? This one's Christmas tree, but that's not going to work. Actually, this one's cute, but it's Shutterstock. So maybe holiday lights, palm trees. So there's just different ways you can kind of go about the searches here. All right, so let me honing in on something. Oh, there's Fright Nights too for this holiday festival. Kind of a scary advertisement here. Here's something cool with a little hood here. Entice people to come. It's very general. It's kind of scary. This is more of a landscape ad, so it might be hard to fit that in, but that's something that you can definitely think about. Fireworks, summer night concerts. Again, I could do the summer events too. So summer nights festival, amusement park. This is kind of cool with the lights from the wheel. Amusement park at night. Might be a keyword. Okay. I'm just seeing what's out there, see kind of what comes up. So you know kind of how to start your search for imagery. Some interesting things. Oh, this is actually kind of pretty here too. All right, so you just have to come up with a slogan and a theme, and that will kind of guide you through here. All right, so let's try to pick something here for purposes of the demo. I'm actually going to choose this one. I'm going to choose free demo, or free download. Let's do like this one here. The lower resolution is okay. Oh, there's bridges. We have to do this first. Hold on 1 second. Make sure I'm not a robot. Download. Now this is a landscape one too, so I'm going to have to make this work, but let's just do this for purpose of getting this ready to go here. I'm going to export this out. I'm going to save this on my desktop as a JPEG. All right, so now I'm going to make my bleed. And maybe your entire image is bled off. I'm going to do Command D with my rectangle frame box spread out there on my bleed. Do my amusement park picture. I'm going to place that in there. It looks like I might have to download the higher res. Let's see here. Actually, it doesn't look too bad. The people's faces on here are kind of funny. Now, if this is kind of not working because it is only on Scape, I might need to kind of play around with the orientation of this. So maybe I do a 1/3 type of a layout. That might work a little bit better. And then whatever slogan that you have, obviously you want, let's bring the logo in here real quick. You do a little rectangle frame box. Go ahead and get into my files, and you guys should have downloaded your folder here with the logo files in here. And mine's for the JPEG. Go ahead and place in the logo that you think would work best. There's a blue and a brown version. Actually, this goes pretty well with the colors here. And I'll probably downsize this. So I'm going to go ahead and go to the scale tool and double click on the scale tool, and I can scale this down proportionately with the scale tool. You don't want it too big, but not too small. Oops. Okay. Oops. Object fitting, center. And then I just double click to position this a little bit better here. So I know that's perfectly centered there. All right, so maybe my body copy would come in here, and it would be two columns. And how I would do that is I just drew out a text box. Let me zoom in here so you can see. I just took my type tool and just drug out a type box, and I aligned it on my margin guides. So now I'm going to go up to type. Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry, go up to object. Usually I'm so used to going to type. It's actually up to object, and choose text frame options. And what we're going to do is I hit preview here so you can see, maybe not. We want to do 2 columns. So hit 2 for the columns. You'll see this column will be broken into 2. And just for purposes of getting type in here, I'm going to take my type tool and just click right in there. And I'm going to go up to, where is it here? Type, import, fill with placeholder text. And that's just for, purposes of getting this in here, just so you guys can see. Now this body copy, you'll want to make sure that it's not Greek type. This is something that you'll come up with. And this is something that you can take from, you know, other ads that you look into that might be similar to your brand. And it doesn't have to be a lot of, it doesn't have to be this long. It could be one paragraph. And if you're doing a smaller sized ad, you won't want a whole bunch of copy like this. You'll want to do maybe just the headline, maybe just the subhead or the subhead. So if you're doing a full page ad, you might want to add a little bit more copy. You don't necessarily have to. You could take that completely out and just focus on a headline. You know, it's completely up to you. Fly like an eagle, I'm just going to put on there. And you want to obviously choose, you know, specific typeface that works not only with the brand, but also you know, it's readable. It's something that goes with the actual eagle. The actual, you know, overall the ad itself. Let's see if I have anything down here. No. And I can put this up here, make this bigger. You know, so it's really kind of up to you to kind of do this part here. Make it work. Play around with placement. Might just work best down here. Play around with it, see what works. Let's see, experience fun, flight, fantasy, something like that. You know, something kind of 3 words to describe this could be kind of my concept and my slogan here. And then I can use another 3 words for another ad in that same campaign series. So it really depends on your theme and kind of what you're going for. Keep it consistent, you know, any colors that you use, maybe in the actual image itself, or, you know, specifically in the logo, you might want to kind of take from. So I'm going to take my eyedropper tool and I'm going to just sample from the logo, the eyedropper tool in InDesign. And I'm just going to grab, oops, not that. Actually, let me do little squares here. I'm going to do a little square here. Fill that with that. Do another square here. Fill that with that. And then go to swatches, color, swatches. And then I can double click on the actual foreground ad. This is CMYK. We're going to have to convert this eventually here. Add CMYK, looks good. Okay, so we have this in your swatches. So if I go to swatches, of course it's not coming up. Let me reset this here. There we go. I'll just pull this out. Ah, okay. Nice. Where's my swatches at? There we go. There we go. Okay. Let me delete this one. I already have it in there. And let me delete this one. Okay, there's my 2 swatches. So now I can go back to the headline and change this based on my colors. I don't know why this isn't saving my swatches here. I'm just going to grab it from there. There we go. or I can grab it from the actual image itself if there's, you know, a color that goes with it that looks good. And let me view this without all the lines here so you guys can see the print preview version of this. All right, so I have the logo in there. I have the headline. I could add a subhead if I want, but I think that's kind of overkill for this. And I have the body copy, although it's kind of placeholder text. I can, you know, gear it towards this particular seasonal theme, you know, kind of write what it's about, what's going on during this event, very simply. And the call out could just be, you know, a web address too at the bottom. Maybe the web address is part of the body copy, or maybe it's added somewhere underneath the logo. So, you know, there's different ways that you can do that too. Somebody has a question here. Hold on one second, my chat area. Yeah, I mean, there's just, this can definitely be very cool and fun to do here. Just make sure you're paying attention to all of the elements and in your design, that everything's kind of working. Okay, I'm going to do the text box. If you want to do like a little call out, you could have even their address down here, but I'm going to do discoveryisland.com. So I'm just making this up for this purpose here. Let's do the same type as I did up here on the headline for the subhead, or for the website address. I mean, this could even go up here, you know, if that works. In that same color. Oops. Okay, and then we just bring everything back down here. Oops. So I want enough white space in between my copy and my imagery here, just for a nice, you know, pause, a visual pause here. So this would be an example of something that you can do. And this, you know, obviously you want to tie this into your other pieces. So how are you going to do that? So this is really important to have this first ad kind of where you want it to be, because you're going to try to connect this with all your other ones after this. Now, before you do anything, because this is a web ad, you're going to want to convert it to CMYK. You might want to do that, or to RGB. You might want to do that sooner than later. So there's different ways you can do this here. You can save this out, color settings. Let's go up to File, Save As. I'll actually cancel that out here. We'll do Export. Let's save this. Okay, there's actually Publish Online too, but we're not going to do that one because that actually takes you online. So we're just going to go Export. And for this one, you could either do a PDF. I'm going to tell you probably your best bet is just a PDF, since you're going to have to submit this as a PDF anyway. And that's okay for online variation. PDF is perfect for a real web ad to be saved out as, okay? So click Save. And again, make sure all your specs are aligned with what's online, you know, based on the website that you chose. And then go in here and you can start choosing the compression. So right now I'm downsampling to 100 to 150. That's the smallest file size. Let's take a look at, okay, so RGB, that's good. Marks and bleeds. We won't have to worry about bleeds unless it says it in your specs that you have to do that. This looks good. So smallest file would be perfect. And hit Export. Okay. And then you want to check your PDF. And what I mean by that, and I know you guys can't see anything right now because I'm hiding stuff. just go ahead and open up that PDF that you just exported. Open it up. The image might look a little weird because it's a lower resolution that you saved it out in as a PDF, but I'm viewing it this 150%. If I'm viewing this 100%, you might see some pixelation in here. As long as you're using a high quality image from the start, you guys should be okay. But this is what the PDF looks like. I didn't have to worry about any bleeds for mine because my specs didn't say that I needed to worry about that. But I know, actually it did give me a bleed trim edge size, but it said no, it didn't specify if I had to have bleed marks within my file. So this would be a perfect submission for what you guys need to do in terms of your ads. Now again, you don't have to do an 8.5 by 11. You should pick your publication that you want to advertise in first, get the specs, and kind of design it based upon that. So this is the first page that you'll submit, and then the next pages will be your written part. Remember that? So your 500-word written part. And you can do that in Word, but just save it out as a PDF so that you can combine it all together in the end here. So it'll be one file, one PDF. Let me go back. But the first part of that will be your ad, and the second part will be your 500-word paper. Okay, so here we go, right here. Assignment 2, second part. Okay, so submit a multi-page PDF that includes the advertisement and your write-up. Don't forget, you have to include the link to the publication site where you found the specs for the advertisement. And like I said, if you're having issues looking for something, to place your ad in, to use something, let me know. I'm here to help you guys. I want you guys to succeed and not sit there and be like, I'm stuck. So I'm here for you guys. Let me know and I can help guide you. And that's pretty much what I have for you today. If you guys have any questions, let me know. We will be meeting tomorrow around the same time. So if you're welcome. If you have any questions at that time, come on in and share your work. Ask me whatever issues that you're having. I can help you along. Awesome. So you guys are doing the zoo. You can look up parent magazines, lifestyle magazines, anything that's kind of like local in that, geared towards families and kids, e-publications. Okay. All right, guys. Well, have a wonderful night, and maybe I'll see you tomorrow night. If not, I'll see you on the discussion boards. All right. Thank you, guys. Have a great night.